You're listening to the Soju Sessions, episode 35 on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. I'm your host, Crispy, also known as Crispy Wonton or simply just Anton, and on today's episode, Viking Lord Jocabb joins the show to discuss Weki Meki and their newest release, their newest album, I Am Me. We were really happy to have Weki Meki returning, coming back after a little over a year of a break between their last release, Cool. And, it was just a nice little wake up from a siesta, if you'd say. No, it was a really nice, lighthearted conversation, and I'm really glad Jocabb, one of the biggest Weki Meki fans on the server, got to celebrate them. And, we kept things light, but we really just wanted to see how the album hit us and kind of the flow of the 6 tracks. So, I hope you guys all enjoy it. I hope you guys all enjoy this holiday break wherever you are in the world, whether that is in the United States enjoying Thanksgiving, or if you're in a part of the world that just happens to have this week off. I hope you guys enjoy kind of the global festivities. Jocabb forgot to mention on the show, and I will bring it up for him. He purchased he ordered a signed Weki Meki album. He ordered it yesterday, so hopefully that's coming in, and he gets to show us some pictures. So shout out to Jocabb. I just wanted to get that in for you, good sir. All right, coming up, my chat with Jocabb on the Soju Sessions. Joining Soju Sessions this week, returning to the show all the way from Denmark, a very tall human being, a very construction worker achieved human being, a moderator on the server, the Viking Lord himself, Jocabb, comes back to the show. Hey, Jocabb.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I am good, thanks. I'm pretty good. Yeah. Feel like I'm sleeping a bit better these days, so
Yeah.
it helps.
Yeah, man. It's good to find that balance and to kind of get back to a different routine. So
Mm,
I'm glad. I'm glad to hear it. And you seem great. And
thank you.
you are probably one of, if not the biggest, Weki Meki fan on the server. I think Mal will probably have something to say about that. But I wanted to
Mm,
have you on because Weki Meki has returned with I Am Me, a mini album. And, we're just big fans. I'd say, like, there's something very appealing about Weki Meki that I've always just found a connection with. I was gonna say attraction to, but that's also because Doyeon is very attractive. Yujung is very cute. Lua has great hair. I can go on. Rina has very sultry eyes. Okay, what's happening? Anyways, yes, they have a new album. It's great. We're just gonna go into it. We're gonna talk about all the songs, react to a little bit of what
mm.
the crew said on the main show this week, and kind of just give an overview, give our thoughts and feelings about how it all went down. So, let's start at the top. We have I Am Me. It is a mini album after about a year, a little over a year since
Yes. Oh,
Cool,
yeah.
sadly. But Jocabb, what did you think about the album? Your overall thoughts and feelings when you first listened to it, and kind of letting it set in the past few days.
Right. So, first of all, I usually enjoy music more when I don't think about it, right? So, me coming on here has now ruined the album. No, but like it I forced myself to sit down and actually listen and think, what is this, and not just lean back and enjoy it, right? So it's changed in the last couple of hours, I think. Um, not better or worse, just changed, if that makes sense. But yeah, um, the album is what do I say? Like I like how it goes. It ties into each other great. Like it seems like they've thought just a little bit about how the songs change from one to another, which is nice. It is a little safe, I would say. Like it's not anything special, and mostly the title track, Siesta. It's like I'm hoping they make us they made it a safe song for them to regain some confidence and get back into the rhythm and like spew out more music in the future. I don't know why they waited a year, but I hope they won't wait another year for the next one. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point
Um,
because it does feel like that's a little bit of a trend. With Red Velvet is a group that comes to mind where they had a long hiatus, and then Queendom, which
I mean,
great
Red
song but a
Velvet's
little safe.
hiatus made sense
Yeah, yeah,
in a different way.
in a different way. Yeah, I mean, for a different reason, right?
Yeah.
And it just could be that I don't know, conflicting schedules and things just didn't work out for Weki Meki. And it could be, like you said, something around the corner that they're setting up for a little bit different, maybe going back
Mm,
into like the cool vibes of it all. Because this is at the
yeah.
end of the year, and it does kind of feel like end of the year releases kind of get stuck in that nebulous zone of they're not really considered for the award shows at the end of this year. They're technically now considered for 2022, which is weird to
Mm.
say. So hopefully this is kind of a jumping off point into more music, maybe earlier next year, February,
Yeah.
March is what the hope is. But
Yeah.
well, I had a question for you. So you said you enjoy music typically when you don't have to think too much about it. Can
Yes.
you kind of recall like your thoughts and feelings when you went through that first listen of either having it on in the background, playing New World, taking a walk, just like that initial like emotion of like, oh, Wiki Mickey's back. How do I feel about this?
Right. Yeah, that's basically what I felt. Oh, Weki Meki is back. So I was just I didn't even want to try to think about what I was listening to. I just wanted to enjoy it and enjoy them, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I noticed it was safe quite clearly and early on. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it is a little bit different from the past songs. So last year we had Cool, Oopsie, and Dazzle Dazzle. No,
Right.
all fairly interesting, kind of almost experimental songs. Cool definitely was the one that popped off as just the chic fashion, high
Yeah.
fashion fashionista look. Whereas Oopsie and Dazzle Dazzle were very playful, trending in that direction. But I think still having the Wiki Mickey cheese and a little bit of like youthfulness. Siesta,
Right.
the title track, kind of goes all the way back for me for like Picky Picky and even Tiki Taka with that kind of song. So let's kind of go into Siesta, the music video, the look, the feel. What did you think about how this song came together and how it was more of a throwback to older Wiki Mickey from 2 years ago?
Um, yeah. It's like wait, what do I say? Wait, wait a second.
No, you're fine. So kind of the song like does have older vibes, right? With like I
Yeah.
don't want to say dated, but it does feel like a 2020 song where it's a very pop song. It's happier, it's
Mhm.
lighter. Anita alluded to it on the main show. It's summery. Unfortunately, we are in fall,
Right.
and
I have something to say about that later on,
yeah,
by the way.
yeah, no worries. And it's
Um,
one of those where it's like it's a good fitting song for them. I feel like this
yeah.
definitely is in their genre, their sound. But I think because we got a taste of something a little bit different last year, and again, you saying it being safe, it might have been a little too safe. But I think there's a familiarity with safe songs, right? Where for me, it's
Yeah.
like I'm just happy to have them back, and it's an easy entry point for someone who is a fan or even like a new fan to find Wiki Meki and find this song. It's like, okay, this is kind of what their sound is, and this is how I'm gonna move forward, looking for their music, listening to their songs.
Mm.
Was there anything from the music video that really stood out to you?
Yeah, in a way. Um, First of all, I haven't really watched it a lot. Sorry, I know you like watching the,
No
but
worries.
yeah. What I've noticed was how they were kind of sad in the what's it called? English. Jesus. In the verses, right? But then in the chorus, they go over to dancing and being happy, and the song kind of goes the same way. Um, but then in the last verse, they are happy also. And I read the lyrics, and I feel like it might have to do with. Okay, let me take that back a little bit. So Anita on the show mentioned how it was weird that it was called siesta, right? Because that means a nap, and calling someone a nap is just not a thing, right? But I think the nap is like their love for someone, right? Their summer love, which is why it's a summery song. But then they wake up and they realize this guy was not it for me. And the reason they're happy in the end is because they woke up and they found themselves again, you know? Does that make sense?
That is an amazing interpretation. I kind of love that storytelling that you pulled from the lyrics and the way that the song progresses, because I think there is a story there, right?
Right.
And kind of like to pair in what you were saying about like the shifts in mood throughout the
Yeah.
way the song is sung and the lyrics. It also matches the music video, where at the
Mm,
beginning they're very, it's very mundane, and they're kind of like dragging. It's they have like they have the look on their face where they're just tired, right? And then
yeah.
by the end of the music video, they're all happy, they're celebrating. Yeah, no. So, what about the song for you frames the story in that they are waking up from a situation or a relationship that they no longer want to be a part of?
Um, it's one of the Korean parts of the song, so I can't pull it right now. But basically, right after they sing Siesta, they talk about waking up, and the whole song in general is somewhat about love. So, yeah,
No,
I
that
don't know if it's a stretch, but that's just what I imagined.
it pairs really well with the visuals of the music video and how the music video progresses. I think from a
Yeah,
story point of view, that it's a brilliant metaphor, and I think it's a subtle metaphor where you can take it as a siesta. This person is, you're someone who you can rest with, or someone that you no longer need in your life because you're waking up from a situation that you're moving on from. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that was all great, Jocabb. Pulled a lot of
Thank
great
you.
stuff. Um, with regards to kind of the vocals and the way that the song was constructed, I know Warren had some criticisms about it being a
Mm,
little generic, a little lazy, but it did still evoke a lot of Eyes One, Cosmic Girls, and G Friend feeling to it, vibe to it. What did you
yeah.
just think about the overall electronica use compared to kind of their deep house songs of the past?
It was great. It's one of the things I associate with Weki Meki. So the thing you said earlier about it sounding a bit dated, um, I think maybe that's just Weki Meki's sound, and it just happened to trend a couple years ago. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a good
Um,
point. Yeah.
yeah,
I agree. I think this is their sound in a lot of ways. It could also just be the, how should I say this, the allocation of resources, right? Because it is Fantagio. It's not necessarily like a larger company, but just going back into making music, I think it was probably just an I don't want to give the company too much like leeway in this, because obviously we do want a better quality like product from them, but it's probably easier for them to just say like, let's do something familiar so then we can pour resources into the next thing.
right.
So hopefully we get something kind of crazy and cool coming up. um,
Maybe actually they were hoping to tour more, and that's why they had to stop for a whole year with the album production due to COVID and stuff.
yeah, that's a very real life
Yeah,
consequence of just how everything went down. And it's one of those, sometimes I do forget oftentimes that a lot of the income for smaller groups and artists is live shows and touring, and we just haven't had that for 2 years. That could be partly, if not a large reason, why They took a break, and we got a song that may have been a little too familiar. Was there anything from the crew, specifically Warren, and the way that he kind of broke down the song, the progression, the way that everything was composed, that stood out to you?
Uh, no, not really. It made sense. That's what I expected, and feel I kind of feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I do appreciate that Warren was able to kind of put very specific examples into how he described the sameness of the formula, other groups doing similar sounds, and then also kind of reminding everyone that Weki Meki has done this in the past. So if you are new to Weki Meki and you kind of like the song, check out the other stuff because I do think it's a nice entry point into their music. All right.
Right.
Any final thoughts on Siesta?
Um, Only thing is that I kind of don't like the girl's voice when they sing "La La La Fiesta." I feel like it's too high for them. Uh, Not that they can't hit it, but I just don't feel like it's, yeah, not nice.
It's a little
Yeah.
jarring. It's a little jarring. It's a little cheesy. I think that's when the cheese goes a little too far. Because the boom boom fireworks is just like, ooh, that's excellent. Like I need a little bit more of that.
That works very well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then they go the la 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 fiesta, like you said, the up goes a little too high up. But yeah, I think overall it's just a very fun reintroduction to Wiki Miki because again, it's been over a year and it's just nice to see the girls again. I am just a
Mm.
big fan for Doyeon and Yujung, so hello. And then Mao, of course, with Lua and the short hair. So hi. All right. Our next track on the album is "Who Am I." So this one's a deep house, kind of a runway house song. So this is actually far more similar to me to Cool than
Yes.
Siesta, which is kind of amazing. I kind of wish and hope that this is the lead track. But overall, what did you think about this song and kind of being a sexy, airy take on kind of this genre?
Um, yeah, I was gonna say I wrote down that it's probably the continuation of Cool that the crew requested on the pod. Even though I feel like it's fair enough for them to not continue off of Cool since it's been so long. Whatever. It's a little bit repetitive, but in a way I like. I don't mind that. I've looped this album almost 1,500 times. Well, the songs on it. So, it's the song I've listened to the most because of the repetitiveness. Like I can just put it on and be in a trance when doing something mundane, and yeah, it just works in a way. Um, yeah, it's a weird mix of the very flat and repetitive beats, but then there's all sorts of ad libs and funky singing that changes that up, you know? So even though there's a lot of similar parts, it's never quite the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of the repetitiveness is played into by the genre, right? With
Right,
it
right,
being
right.
house music, like deep house music, even, and that being kind of the foundation of that style, where it's fairly consistent throughout the entire song, not too much changes, but it's the the incorporation of the girls singing that changes things up, and is very playful with how the song kind of progresses and plays out. I do kind of want to shout out the vocals on this song because this is where it stood out to me the most. It was airy, but they're I feel like they're flexing a little bit more than usual. Especially Lua. I think Lua got a lot of parts in the song, and I think she had a great lead in with the pre-chorus into the chorus. She had a couple of those where she would do the lead in, and then she'd get a little larger part either in the chorus or in the following verse. So yeah, kind of cool that she's getting a lot of shine for this song, especially vocally.
Yeah.
All right, so what did you think about Yu Jung's rap? Because we know she's a rapper. She got a little bit of funk. She got a little bit of edge to her, but she's a cutie little a small person. um, well, how do you feel about her rap in general? Because I feel like she can rap, but
right?
there's just something about it where it's just like I I'm conflicted, right? Like I don't hate it. It fits. She's great, but she's a little too cute, no?
Yeah, I could see that. It's she's kind of been unfortunate with her looks in and compared to her field of expertise, so to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of like that duality at the same time. Her rapping overall is fun. I like it. Like it's not super impressive technically, but it works. She knows what she's good at and sticks to that.
Warren alludes to this a
Um,
lot about like characterization, right? And I feel like
mm,
if you're trying to just be objective and just like, oh, like rapping quality, then of course you can get kind of lost in what they're trying to accomplish. But for characterization, I think it just works really well with who she is and what we know about her over the years, right?
yeah.
Like that firecracker energy, and then she just like throws in a rap, and it's like, oh, that's a little aggressive, nice. Any closing thoughts on Who Am I?
One of the very last ad libs, I don't know who did it, reminds me of Chew from Luna every time. It just sounds like she's singing some high note,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun.
I'm trying to think of who has the high note in this song. Because I do know there's a lot of. Yeah, no, I can't pull it. Because I was looking at the line distribution earlier, and it was just really surprising who had which lines. Um,
Mm.
the only.
You
Go ahead.
um, Yu Chang had a lot of singing actually on the album overall,
Yeah,
even though she's right.
yeah, which is
So that's
great.
fun.
Yeah, I love that she's able to kind of balance that, and they're not just giving her the rap sections.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think overall, though, I think it's a good representation of Weki Meki. I think they are far more capable vocalists than they are known for. And I hope that that's something that trends forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on now
Agree.
to Luminous. I love this title. The song itself, it's it does a lot of things. Okay, so I don't dislike it, but it does a lot of things because it starts off a little retro, and I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna do like a little bit of a retro song, and then it flips a little bit, goes to EDM, and then it goes to pop, and then I'm thinking like, okay, like older Wiki Mickey had songs like Crush that were
Right.
this vibe. But what do you think about another song being a callback to older Wiki Mickey from 2020, 2019? Does this work? And are they successfully doing a modern take on their own sound?
Uh, yeah, I agree that it's a fun mix, and I'm not sure how good it works. Like that, I want to call it a little bit of a funky intro, but that's just me generalizing everything with that kind of bow, bow, bow sound as funky. So, um, but yeah, I don't mind it being a callback to older stuff, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's quite enough. Like it's never gonna put Weki Meki on the map. But I wouldn't want to remove it from the album either. Like I understand why it's there. It's great filler content, so to say. Um, yeah. Um, my favorite part of this song is the this and that part. Yeah, I've probably butchered that, but that's great.
It's a great part
Um,
because it does have that very characteristic EDM like drop in that section, right? It goes
yeah.
this, that. Okay, we're just killing the song. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone listening. But yes, if you're looking for a very if you're looking for how K-pop has used EDM and incorporated EDM in the past, that section is a really nice example, especially how Wiki
Mm,
Meki does it, right? Because they do use a lot of EDM styling in their songs, and I mean, like you said, like it is somewhat filler, but I do also feel like it flows really well with the other two songs moving into the second half of the album, right?
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I think if you look at the album as a whole, sometimes you have songs that aren't individually going to be super strong or effective, but it actually just works in between two other songs. So Who Am I leading into this song, leading into the following song, I feel like works really well. But
Yeah,
again,
agreed.
certain songs should just kind of live on their own and hopefully be good. Um, yeah, Luminous, fun title. Like I like the
Mm.
idea of things brightening up, lightening up, and again, it's I've said this like a million times already, but it's a great reintroduction into who Weki Meki is and their sound for new audiences. Because I think it bears repeating that they have just not been able to be visible, and it's just I think it'll help a lot of new fans who are new to K-pop, new to Weki Meki. Any closing
Yeah.
thoughts on Luminous?
Uh, I kind of dislike how slow the verses are in this one. That's a major factor that's pulling the song down. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. No, some of the pacing is a little funky for me. That's why I can't. I'm not super all in on this song, but I also understand the value of having this song kind of be a bridge song between certain sections. All right,
yeah.
let's move on now to Sweet Winter. This is one of my top songs of the album. Um,
Okay.
I like. I'm just a sucker for like tropical house music and just like if it's fun, if it's just like it's a little bouncy, but then they do a nice blend with a little bit of the trap and mellow like vocals. I think this is where the vocals get really airy in the entire album. I think all of the members, I don't know if it's if they do it on purpose, or if it's like distorted in a way where it's like hyper airy, but it kind of works for me because I kind of like the way it all fits together. What do you think about this being a tropical winter song?
Um, First of all, I'm just happy that it's not a Christmas song yet, because that would have ruined the entire album for me, probably. I kind of feel that when I saw the title for it. Um, I call this song the Wii theme song because there's a certain rhythm. It's right in the start and around 1 minute in that just reminds me of the Wii theme music. Um, which yeah, which I think that's kind of what's thrown me off from liking this otherwise nice song. Um, yeah,
Oh, I can't unhear it anymore. I'm thinking about that section and I hear the we starting and that okay, I can't no brain. But yes, I actually appreciate that it's not a Christmas song, it's not a winter song. It's called Sweet Winter. They talk about wintry things, but for the most part, like I am feeling a different season. I am feeling lightness, springness, summerness, a lot of warmth, a lot of warm weatherness. And I do think
yeah,
this is kind of a nice take on them using different genres that are that obviously have been like done in the past, but I think it's done in a not so jarring way. Is the best way I can put it. Because the trap section is one of those where it's like, oh, that's definitely trap, and then
yeah,
oh, that's definitely house, oh, that's definitely tropical house. But at least for me, it works together in almost a contradictory way from it being a winter song to being a warmer weather song. I don't know. The song has a
yeah.
lot of contradictions in it that I kind of like a lot. So, any closing thoughts on Sweet Winter?
No,
All right, let's move on now
not about
to
that.
the penultimate song, First Dream. Um, I have a couple theming notes about this song, and I want to get your thoughts about it. So, songs like this make me really think of like coming of age, like hanging out after school in high school, like pop songs with a little bit of a hip hop vibe. Is this
Right.
song a bit youthful for you, and does it kind of take you back into like even younger days from where you are today?
Um, it is youthful for me. Like they sort of sing in a cutesy way, which make them sound younger, and makes this song quite fun to listen to. But I gotta admit, I didn't think of it being like a youthful throwback before you. mentioned it before you. Yeah. So I guess it hasn't been filling my thoughts really. You know. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I do like that the vocals are a little bit highlighted, a lot more highlighted in this song.
Yeah.
Nice harmonizing, a nice surprise here, and I do feel like it fits the genre really well, kind of with the doo-wop feel. And I wrote this down. It does kind of feel like a younger Red Velvet, not to the same extent or degree that Red Velvet really belts out and harmonizes, but I feel like there is a little bit of inspiration there with this style of music being a lighter hip hop, like a lighter hip hop,
Yeah.
young hip hop sound, and it fits well with the theming and the lyrics, with it just being like young romance, young love, figuring it out, your first
Mm.
dream. Oh, imagine. Um, Jacob, let me ask you: do you have any experiences about young love and a first dream or a first situation of romance that you can kind of attach to with this song?
Not really, no.
It's okay. I mean, it's a very dreamlike picture they're painting with the song, and I feel like
Mm.
that's a strength of a lot of, not a strength, but that's something that I look out for in a lot of girl groups, because I kind of just like want to be taken away and escape into a fantasy of what romance could be for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Any closing thoughts on First Dream?
Um, I've been listening to the songs as we're talking about them to sort of remember and see if there's anything. And right when you talked about Red Velvet, the rapping part really sounded like Irene. So I guess
Nice.
maybe that's what they were going for in a way.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's
yeah.
yeah, no, I thought about that immediately when I was really paying attention to the song. It does have a little bit of inspiration to Red Velvet, but that's cool that you bring up Irene, because I didn't make that connection. But yeah.
It's the rapping right in the middle of the song.
Is there another rapper on this song? I know Yu Jung raps. Uh,
Yeah, they have two rappers.
okay. Yeah.
I'm not good with names, so I don't know who the other one is, but they have two main rappers, yeah.
Yeah. Because I can recognize Yu Jung's voice when she raps. And I know that there's another rapper occasionally. I can't pinpoint who it is sometimes, and sometimes I just don't have the sheet with the names on
Mm.
it. So it's like, all right, sorry, but you're all great. I love all the members. 7 members, right? 7 members of Weki Meki. Yeah. All right, let's move on now to the last song on the album.
Wait, there's 8 girls on my poster. There's eight
There are
girls in
8 girls.
the
Okay, I apologize to everyone. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the group page now, and yes, there are 8 girls. Great. My apologies. All right. Yeah, it's just one of those days where we're just, we're in our feelings about Wiki Mickey. We're just happy to have them back. We're kind of off the rails a little bit. We're just, talking off of our initial thoughts and reactions, and just being reflexive with how we see everything. And Jocabb is here for the ride, and I appreciate him so much. All right, let's move
Very
on now
much.
to the final song. We got One Day. It's the end cap to the album. Jocabb, what are your thoughts and feelings about this being the end cap, and do you feel like it works as a way to close the album?
Yes. Yes, I do. First of all, there's got to be a ballad on a K-pop album. I don't particularly enjoy it every time, but it's just an unwritten rule. So this is basically that. I feel like not really, but Wikimeki's take on it. It's very pleasant. This is one of the ballads I don't find boring. I really like the vocal effects at the end. I don't know who it is because it's distorted, but it's great. Um, and also, it ties in really well with the start of Siesta. So it works well when you loop the album, actually, in my opinion. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice.
uh, I agree with a lot of what you said, and
Hmm.
to piggyback off of it, it's not a typical ballad. It's a slower song. Um, it does have like a very slowed down EDM feel to it, and then it goes into like an 80s synth. But the build up doesn't actually build up. It kind of mellows out. Which is kind of nice. Like I appreciate that as far as like an energy balance to like the type of album this is, right? Because it is a higher energy Weki Meki like pop K-pop album, and it's nice to have something that ends a little bit more mellow, not exactly a ballad like you mentioned, but in a more easing you into the end of the story feel.
Yeah.
And I think there is value in what you said about this song looping into the top of the album, because as a whole, and we mentioned this earlier with Who Am I, the album works really well as a continuous listen.
Yes.
The songs sound similar enough where they blend into each other, but to me, not in a negative way, because I feel like that could be interpreted as, oh, they all sound the same. It's like, no, I think there's enough variation within the songs, but there's a constant theming as far as the way that the songs were arranged as a track list, right?
Yeah. It's one of the albums I wouldn't shuffle.
Yeah, right. Because I think it's one of those where, like you said, like you can shuffle an album and it can work still. Where it does feel like there's some intention to having the songs listen in sequence in order. One Day, very mellow song. I'd say if you want Weki Meki's take on an EDM mellow song, this is it. They do incorporate some synths. My only hope and wish, kind of like moving forward with Weki Meki, well, it's two things. So let's get some deep house. You know, they showed they can do it with Who Am I, but then also like, I mean, they might be late to the party, but I want to hear their take on retro. I want to see what they can do with retro. You know.
True.
I mean.
True.
I think Sunmi is a good example of, even though she's a little bit late to the trend, she was still able to do something different with it that stood out. For the latter half of this year, so I don't know. I feel like Weki Meki could do a little something, you know, a little something. Jocabb, any closing thoughts on the entire album and how it all played for you? And just, you know, your thoughts and feelings about having Weki Meki back and perhaps some of your favorite members.
Oh, a lot of big questions. I don't have any that deep thoughts. I just like to enjoy it. That's about it. My bias in K-pop terms is Yoo Jung, for sure.
Adorable. What is it about her that appeals to you most?
I listen to a lot of hip hop, mostly Korean hip hop. So I just like and appreciate rap, and therefore my bias is often rappers, or like that's the ones I pay attention to the first, and oftentimes I stick with them. But also, just she's very funny. She's great backstage, and of course on stage, as we all know.
Yeah, she's definitely. I think she has the title of the face of the group, if I'm not mistaken. As far as being the forward-facing the character, right?
Because it would make sense to be her or Doyeon because of IOI.
Yeah, I think that's where they initially like built that chemistry. I think Doyeon and Yoo Jung are like the closest friends that anyone could be in a group, right? And IOI definitely highlighted a lot of that, and it carried it over. I think all of those relationships are still super strong. Those bonds are really tight.
Judging by all the TikToks together,
Shout out to Yoo Jung and Doyeon on Somi's TikTok all the time. I would say I'm really happy to have Weki Meki back as well, just because I think they are one of the staples of the late 2020s, late 2010s. Sorry, wow, time is a construct. Because we are definitely firmly in 2020 now, and the sound is shifting. I don't know how and in what direction, but there is something charming and appealing to listening to older K-pop from the late 2010s that is a take on music from the West from 3 years from that point. That sounded very confusing, but what I'm trying to say is they're doing EDM from the mid 2010s,
right?
updated with a K-pop flair to it. And I feel like
Right.
them, Eyes One, Uju Sonyo, G Friend, like they mentioned on the main show, had all interesting approaches to it. And I hope that some of that carries over with a modern update, of course, and hopefully with a larger budget and more resources for new music. Because, we just want new music and hope the best for the
Yes,
girls.
please.
All right. Well, that was our, discussion of Weki Meki's new album. Okay, I gotta say it correctly. It's I Am Me with a song called Who Am I?
Right.
But yes, I Am Me. It's an excellent album. It's a really nice album to just listen to in the background, to just let it run and play. I
Yeah.
would say it's a very as it's easy listening relative to how high energy albums usually play out. So I think it's a nice comfort listen. And if you
Yeah.
do if you're cold because it's winter and you want something to warm you up, this is it. It'll transport you to a different season. All right. I haven't had Jocabb on in a long time, and life has got in the way, in a good way, for the both of us. So we're gonna do our closing thoughts with a life check-in with Jocabb. Jocabb, how are you? How's life? How is everything going? As we near the end of 2021.
It's mostly good. Me personally, very good, I would say. But at the same time, I'm a little bit scared of COVID returning to Denmark because it's flu season. So yeah, so that could change everything quite rapidly. But as long as it doesn't, I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm back to school in my course. Or what do you say? So I'm out working, and then I'm back to school, back and forth for 3.5 years, right? And it's good being back and reconnecting with friends I haven't seen for almost a year, actually. So yeah, that, that's nice,
Well, I have two follow-ups for you.
right?
The first one, I do feel like the world, even though the world is starting to get open and the vaccines are rolling out, we're all still fairly separated in how COVID is affecting us. Can you kind of give a summary of Denmark and your region and what that looks like from an outsider point of view? Because I
Right.
honestly don't know, but I do want to know because it definitely affects you.
Right. So Denmark has around 88% vaccinated as of now, I think. So we're mostly good, right? Um, Everything is open. Like there's not really anything and any limits to anything as far as I'm aware. Maybe super big venues, like there's a limit, but day to day, no masks, no nothing. So that's nice. Um, yeah. Were there any other parts to that question?
No, I don't think it's it. Oh, and then I guess can you expand a little bit more of like how COVID is starting to creep back up in your area?
Right. So like our president, I guess you could say that's not at all her title, but um, has started to have press conferences again and talking about what might happen and what we need to be careful of, which hasn't happened for, I want to say, half a year until now. So that's a sign that they're thinking about how to close down Denmark partially again, right? Um, that's mostly it, and also just the numbers creeping up if you pay attention to those. So yeah.
Yeah, we're still definitely in a pandemic, and I think
Mm,
California has been pretty good about it, but I just think the United States is every state has their own direction of how to legislate and approach the
right.
situation. Which, on the one hand, I understand because separation of individual states' authorities, but at the same time, we kind of need a unified approach in something like this. And I think that's kind of, to me personally, I think that's kind of the issue of why the United States itself is not out of it yet. But but yeah, it's also interesting to hear how other countries are dealing with it. Smaller countries who do have a unified kind of message, but still face very similar concerns and issues. So yeah, it's definitely in a pandemic, guys. You know, do your part. Is all I gotta say. Just do your part. However
Right.
that is, just do your part. And then the second follow up, which is a little bit more upbeat and positive. What's it like seeing real people again?
It's good. Like I've done that at work, right? Because we've been outside a lot and stuff. So even when Denmark was in lockdown, we were still able to continue as we were. But yeah, it's great. That's just a different banter in the classroom compared to the shit at work. Because people are my age, of course. Yeah, yeah,
Have
lovely.
you so just like socializing with people your age? Trying to how do I phrase this? Do you feel like there is a very noticeable difference seeing people interacting and socializing with real people and being able to like physically be next to them that you've lacked and missed over the past 2 years?
I haven't been too sad due to separation during COVID, so it hasn't been like a huge shock or big change of happiness or something like that, right? But yeah, it's just generally nice, but not super
Yeah.
over the top anything.
No, and that's good. Well, at least you're able to like be around people again because I do think ultimately we just need to get back out there and
Right.
slowly start to normalize again. So a couple things I want to hit. New World is a thing.
That it is.
Uh,
Um,
I generally know what it is, but if you can give like a quick like 1 minute summary and then talk about like why is it that you're lost in the New World, or if you will remain in the New World because apparently things are happening that people are leaving. So tell me about New World.
yeah. So New World is it's an MMO, right? It's an RPG MMO where you pick a character and you can level up 10, 12 different weapon classes and a lot of gathering and crafting classes and which is similar to a lot of other games, right? But what's different is that you can do everything at once. But compared to World of Warcraft, you have to pick one and you can't really change, if that makes sense. And yeah, this game's end game is going to war with the two other factions. There are three main factions: green, purple, and yellow, and that's mostly what the game is all about at the end. Where many other games are PVE, which means dungeons and such, right? And trying to finish those quicker and better than others. So yeah, that's quite fun. But it's super laggy, and the devs are rolling out weird updates, so everyone is scared what'll happen next, how they'll ruin it. To be honest, it doesn't feel like they're really listening to their players or understand what their game is about in a way. So yeah, a little bit concerned, but it's still fun enough that I'm sticking around.
Nice. I don't want to sound like one of those ingrateful like gamers, but considering that Amazon has infinite money,
Right.
I would think
Yeah.
personally there'd be fewer issues. But you know, what do I know? I don't play the game.
That's a
I don't
common
know.
comment.
Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos is going to space, and New World is crapping out, which is all right, cool.
Mm,
But in all seriousness, I think it's cool that a game with a different take on it has this much of I guess excitement and just the player base ballooned so quickly in the first couple of weeks.
yeah.
I think it's just a historical moment in gaming in general that we're gonna look back on and say, remember New World? Remember how that all went down? And the fact that it's Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know of any other Amazon games.
Same.
With, so that's a little weird.
Yeah, and I think it's just one of those first steps into Amazon's like complete dominance of everything that we consume as humans.
Right.
Which,
Very possible.
people talk about it like in a negative way. Sometimes I'm just like, let it happen. Amazon, Google, whatever you guys want to do. Maybe you guys are more responsible than politicians and people who are actually running the world right now. I don't know. I'm just thinking out
Right.
loud. But yeah, that is the New World discussion. That is the New World review by Pro Gamer Jocabb and all the pro gamers on the Soju Talk server. Hit us up if you have any gaming things, because I'm sure there's going to be another trend sometime soon that we're all going to jump on. Eventually, I'll play something.
My prediction is that we're gonna have a couple weeks of hardcore Minecraft again soon because it's been a while.
That would be
It's one of those games that you return to once or twice a year and just get tired of again after some weeks.
yeah.
So I feel that creeping that's coming up.
Especially during the holidays where people have time, right?
Right.
People who don't typically game but who have played Minecraft are like, okay, I'm gonna hang out with
Yeah.
everyone
It's
again.
it's it's an easy starting game for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the holidays, so we've got time off coming for the majority of the world in a number of different ways, whether that's a holiday break, a college break,
Right.
winter break. I think different regions call it different things, but for the most part, it's about a 2 week period at the end of December into the new year. What are your plans? And do you have anything you're excited about coming up?
2 weeks. Damn, that's not bad. It's not quite that long here usually. Like it's not uncommon to start just briefly before December 24th. We celebrate on the 24th, not the 25th. It's a little bit different, but and then just get back to work at start of January, like second or third. Um, but yeah, I am just going home to my parents for Christmas. Because I live in a dorm. It's not too far, even for Danish standards. It's just like half an hour in a train. So yeah,
Nice. What do you typically do as a holiday tradition with your family?
there's nothing super special. It's just okay. It's the one time of the year we usually go to church, but it's like a family-friendly church session. So yeah, and then we have very good food, and that's about it. Um, yeah, sometimes visit the grandparents, have more great food. Basically, what Christmas is about here.
Yes, that's see Christmas. It's a unifying thing. I think we all typically have something very similar. All right. Well, what do you have a consistent food that happens, or is it different every year?
Yes,
All right. Tell me,
no,
what do you
it's
eat?
very consistent. Um, the main thing for me is the pork roast with the skin on. That's fried till it gets crispy, right? Um,
Do you Danish people do that too? Man, the world is
yeah,
amazing.
I didn't know Asians did it until I saw it on YouTube. But yeah, that's the thing as well.
Nice.
It's great. Then we have our version of sweet potatoes, which is just potatoes and caramel, not sweet potatoes. Um,
Regular potatoes, so not the orange
yes,
ones. Okay.
um, it's great. A little bit weird with sugary dish, uh, but it works
America,
well.
we put marshmallows on our sweet potatoes.
Right.
Don't worry, you're
We,
probably more normal than we are.
um, pickled cabbage, and we have a whole roast duck usually. Yeah, that's like the main things. Um, yeah,
I'm hungry now. Follow up.
same.
What drinks? Alcohol. What alcohol will be consumed?
Red wine and maybe beers. It's
Nice.
the normal. Yeah.
Do you have any seasonal drinks that you guys consume or partake in?
I guess of like hot chocolate because it's cold outside. But yeah, other than that, nothing really is. But I guess mulled wine for the same reason.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Mulled wine's excellent.
yeah,
Americans have this weird thing with eggnog. I
yeah.
don't
I've
understand
heard
it.
about it. I've never had the pleasure of trying it.
I'm
I
sure.
haven't heard too great things about it.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure there are versions of it that are really good. It's just every time I see it, I would rather drink
mm,
something else. To
I've
be
I've heard the
honest.
homemade eggnog can be okay, but you don't want to buy it
Yeah.
dog made.
Yeah. Um,
What do I know?
yeah. I don't know either. I live around it. It's around me all the time. For me, we're gonna do sangria. Um,
Right? That's very summary for us.
I know.
But okay.
It's a summer drink, but I think we're gonna do like a holiday version of it with like cinnamon and like apples, just to give it like a
Okay.
festive, like autumn flavoring. And then I typically like to get cider, warm cider, and throw some whiskey in
Right.
there. But we have a lot of drinks coming up. I think we're just gonna have a lot of wine. United States this week it's Thanksgiving, so yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of food, a lot of drinking. But yeah, those are kind of the things I'm looking forward to. Jocabb, this has been excellent. Thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts about Weki Meki. We love the girls. We love smaller groups. We'd love to give a
Mm.
little bit of attention and celebration to music in a way that isn't so high pressure, I guess. No,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And then wrapping things up with a life catch up. Anything else you want to close on with regards to life and how everything's going? Any message that you like to give the kids out there at home?
Mm. Nothing in particular, no. I don't think. Uh,
No worries, man. Well, I do appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you and just hanging out. I feel like you and I
Me
got
too.
close over the past 2 years, and in a very casual hangout, it's
It's
like,
been
hey,
two
dude,
years. That's so weird.
it's
It's so
weird,
weird to
man.
think.
Gosh,
But
yeah.
yeah,
But
it's great as well.
yeah, I definitely can count on you for a lot of things, and I do appreciate you in a number of ways, more than you'll ever know.
I'm scared now.
Oh, I mean that in all good ways. All right, well, let's sign out. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Soju Sessions on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the Soju Talk K-pop podcast Discord. For Jocabb, this is Crispy, and this has been the Soju Sessions.